Here's Johnny.
I'll be back.
And you will know my name is the Lord.
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Groovy.
In a time when gods walk the earth, an epic battle rages between the encroaching civilization of man and the gods of the forest.
When the forest has been cleared and the wolves wiped out, this place will be the richest land in the world.
Now, the fate of the world rests on the courage of one fearless princess
I'm not afraid to die, and I would do anything to get the humans out of here.
and one brave warrior.
You fight like a demon, boy. Like something possessed.
What exactly are you here for?
To see with eyes unclouded by hate.
Now watch closely, everyone. I'm going to show you how to kill a god. Fire!
Gillian Anderson, Billy Crudup, Claire Danes, Minnie Driver, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Billy Bob Thornton.
You cannot alter your fate, however. You can rise to meet it if you choose.
Princess Mononoke.
So now that we've started the episode,
sure, why not?
Fuck it. I'll find a way to make this coherent, maybe. Welcome to I'll give up pretty easy. Welcome to Box Office Pulp. And my half-assed intro. Today we're discussing. I'm gonna get through this.
Get on with it, man.
One take elf. That's what they call me. Today we're discussing Miyazaki's Princess Mononoke, if you haven't gathered that already from our 20 minutes of talking.
This very serious film.
That's the movie. Joining me today, your host, Cody, is our very own god of hate and anger, Mr. Mike Napier. And we're very fortunate we've got a celebrity today, Billy Bob Thornton, who will be dubbed over by James Lewis.
Aces.
And that's your crew, no MB. Just the three of us.
That is it for our prepared material for tonight.
I have to say, I like the touch of class you gave his name, Mike Napier.
Napier. I mean, I gotta make it sound like I gave two shits, right? Somewhere during the recording.
I was honestly hoping I was going to be the blind boar.
Can I be James Louis?
Louis? Okay, no, we're not going down this route. We're not singing. There'll be no joy on this podcast.
That was amazing. Yeah. That was the best intro ever.
Ah, man, I feel like I accomplished something.
Good night, everybody.
I'm the Ed Wood of podcasts. I did it. It's alright. We're here to talk about Princess Mononoke. Now, for me, I saw Mononoke, like, when it came stateside, out on I guess at that point, VHS. And I think my dad just threw it on a TV to get me to shut up while he was, like, talking to some friends. And if you've seen the film, not really great for small children.
Now, you must have been, like, what, 8 at the time?
Probably about that, yeah. So I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm just like, to me it's a cartoon, because I'm an 8-year-old, so I just assume, like, fun cartoon. And all of a sudden, a guy shoots an arrow and it rips off another man's arms. And at that point, I'm like, oh, something's different. I should watch this. And I don't think I understood any of it as a kid, but I was just, like, I couldn't get away from it. I had, like, stared at the screen. I don't think I blinked. So that was my introduction to all the Miyazaki films. Just like this one, almost scarring, very adult.
As it should be.
You know, like I loved it. I just didn't understand it.
Like Miyazaki just walked into your living room with his Geppetto apron and said, "You are mad now." Then disappeared in a puff of whimsy.
And then halfway through that, glasses just appeared on his face.
But I mean, that was my introduction to the film. How did you guys catch this for the first time?
I first saw it on all places on Turner Classic Movies.
Really? Turner Classic played this?
Yeah, Turner Classic is is actually pretty cool about occasionally airing animated stuff. I think I saw this when they were doing an animation week where the night before they had a double feature of The Iron Giant and Grave of the Fireflies.
Wow, that's just like crushing people emotionally. That's not even fair.
It's like you go from like bittersweet sad to soul crushing.
There was a little bit of happiness left in him. Let's squeeze it out like he's a human sponge.
A channel should not decide you're going to watch Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah.
You decide on your own.
Like when you're emotionally stable enough to handle that.
Yeah, but I had actually first heard of Princess Mononoke just because it was one of the trailers that would play on a VHS tape I watched constantly. So it's one of those movies that's almost a part of your childhood despite you never seeing it. It's like that and The Island of Dr. Moreau.
That might be more specific to your experiences. I don't know if I ever had that as a part of my childhood.
But, yeah, I remember just for years and years wanting to watch that. Just because of how it just didn't look like anything I had ever seen. Like, it didn't even look like anime, because anime to me, at that point in my life, was, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
So, and eventually, whenever I was about 15 or 16, I caught it on Turner Classic Movies, and it was the original Japanese subbed version. And there are very few movies I've seen that have drawn me in as much as that movie did. Like, it's the same feeling I got watching Blade Runner for the first time. Like, I wasn't watching a movie, I was watching cinema.
Well, it's definitely one of those films where the visual language is so strong, like, you don't even have to understand what they're saying. You can just look at it and go, oh, okay, I should probably spend some time watching this. Like, Blade Runner, the script itself isn't amazing. I mean, there's not a ton of super fantastic dialogue, but there's so many cool visual things happening in that film. Like, it tells a story just through what's happening on the frame, not what's being said. And you can definitely say the same thing about, probably any of the Ghibli films.
Oh, definitely. And it wasn't until years later that I finally watched, the DVD and saw the dubbed version with Neil Gaiman's new dialogue, which is radically different from what's in the Japanese version, but
I've always kind of wondered about that.
Better.
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of complaints recently on the Blu-ray release because evil Disney is only releasing the dub titles. Like, if you turn the subtitles on, you're just going to get the subtitles to the English dub, which to me doesn't matter because I'm going to listen to the dub anyways. I don't really care about the original Japanese because it's hard to translate a lot of that. Culturally, I'm not going to get some of the references, or some things just won't line up properly to me.
Well, Gaiman's translation was different from usual anime translations. Like, if you watch the subbed version, it has that thing you get with a lot of translations where it's kind of robotic. Like, it's not bad, but the dialogue doesn't dance at all. It's very much, I am going to go here and I am going to do this thing. Because
you still kind of get that in moments in the film, like Ashitaka will randomly say something where it just seems like this is what is happening now. Spirit of the forest, here is your head back.
Well, he's very dramatic.
That's true.
But Gaiman's translation is much more poetic and flowery to it. There's much more soul to the characters and to the dialogue, which you can't really get from just doing a literal translation of Japanese, which hardly ever works out.
Yeah. People who are sub-snobs, I never fully understand unless they actually speak the language.
Right, yeah.
Because you're not getting the same thing.
You're still not actually getting the original. You're getting a weird translation of the original. I never understand why, other than just to be snobs about it.
And I mean, I can give it a pass in animation a lot easier if I'm watching, a dub take. It doesn't take me out because, it's animated. It fits.
Yeah, I don't like live action dubs at all.
Yeah, live action dubs are harder for me to get into, so I can understand getting pissed about, shitty sub jobs.
Well, with live action dubs, you're taking away a part of the performance, but with, an animated feature, you're not really experiencing that voice actor's performance at all because you're not listening to what they're saying.
Yeah. Plus, Disney always does a fantastic job for their American edition of the films. Like, the cast for this movie is pretty solid. I know a lot of people don't care for Billy Bob Thornton, but hell, I don't know. I think he does a good turn.
I like his performance, actually, quite a bit.
I think some people are kind of turned off just because of how radically different that character is in the Japanese version, where he has a very Mako-like voice, and Thornton does literally the exact opposite.
Like, he plays him pretty chill. Like, it's hard to get a read on what this guy's really like.
Which I feel is, in some ways, an improvement, because ambiguity is such a big part of this movie.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I like how nobody has a bad guy voice. Everybody sounds really chill and likable.
Exactly, and even when someone's doing something evil, you can't just say, like, no, that's bad, don't do that. Because they're maybe performing evil as some sort of necessary task or as a form of progression or progress for society. Like, yeah, sure, we're mining the entire forest and we're killing all the animals, but in the process, we're helping out prostitutes and lepers.
We got that going for us.
So you can't even be like, you're all bastards. Well, I don't agree with your methods, but they're kind of successful.
Well, before we get into that, Mike, what was your first experience with this movie?
Oh, I don't have a good story. I watched it last year.
You just walked into it. What is this?
Oh, finally I sat down and watched it last year. So I have no story.
Okay. Good story.
Thanks, James.
I'm sorry for trying to make you feel included.
Don't worry, we'll just cut him out of the podcast.
Oh.
You just introduce Mike Napier, and then there's silence.
We all laugh like, oh, Cody and his mental illness.
His imagination hosts.
There's so much whimsy packed in his skull, it's escaping through his lips.
I like the idea of living inside your head.
Oh, no, you don't. Whew. The Mind Palace is a dangerous place. But that's another story for another time, possibly Hannibal related.
But yeah, that's, let's go into it. Like, the biggest takeaway, I would say, from watching this movie, and the thing that really sets it apart from similar stories is, like we said earlier, the moral ambiguity of it. It's one of the very few, epic stories like this where there really is no clear-cut bad guy.
Or even like a direct moral to pull out of it, which I think is pretty fascinating. It's not preachy, it's more or less saying, oh, here's a scenario. What the hell do you do with it?
It's like, here's a problem that we all face in the modern world, and draw your own conclusions there.
Yeah. It more or less opens up a discussion, which I think is the important thing. Instead of saying, hey, this is what we need to stop doing, it's more like, oh, this is bad, but can be good. How do we moderate it?
Yeah, it's a theme in all of Miyazaki's movies that I've always really respected, which is the idea that clear-cut good and evil don't really exist. I mean, there are bad people who have a lot of beauty inside of them, and good people are capable of horrible things whenever they feel that they're justified. Like with the character of Lady Eboshi, like what I love about her portrayal is the fact that if this movie had started from a completely different point of view, she would be the heroine.
Exactly.
Like if this were an American movie, she would be like the action hero of this movie. It's like she went to this wild plain and she pioneered it.
And just saved all these people, and she's got a pack of lepers she just carries around and supports. She's a tough, independent woman who doesn't take no guff.
With her army of hookers.
Yeah, but even in each scene, you'll have a quick shift where she'll go from wow, she's actually kind of evil to, oh, maybe she's not so bad. Like, on a dime, she'll just make that kind of switch, and you're not really sure how to take her or how you should judge her.
Which is the same thing you see with the sun and the forest creatures as well, who, you want to be on their side because obviously they have the moral high ground. I mean, these people are destroying the forest, they're destroying their home. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they could just go down to that village and talk to them.
Yeah, no, there's no diplomacy, which is kind of the funny thing.
It's made very clear that Sun and all the animals could just talk to Eboshi and try to communicate with her, but they completely refuse because establishing any kind of dialogue is offensive.
Well, I think, and I mean, this is the situation here. You've got animals and you've got humans. The humans should know better, and they should just talk, because, that's kind of our thing. Whereas animals don't do that. It's not their nature. Whereas you get these in-between characters, Princess Mononoke and Ashitaka, who have more than one plane going on in them at one time, and they need to be the intermediates who can handle that kind of diplomacy. And in that aspect, they do a really shitty job, but everything turns out okay in the end. Like, they eventually get to that position at the end of the film, where they're the diplomats that will solve this. A lot of people have to die, and everything has to fall apart before they get to that point, but they're trying.
Keith David has to have a last stand.
He probably would have done that regardless.
I just think that sometimes Keith David, like when he's just sitting alone with himself, will remind himself that he once played a dying boar god.
Who was just delirious.
Who was deceived by Billy Bob Thornton.
And his tricks. And his fake skins.
Seriously, how fucking disturbing is that sequence? Just those skins just sliding across the forest floor.
It's the blood everywhere. The movie gets very disturbing in many places.
There's a lot of gore in this film.
Yeah, it's really startling watching Miyazaki's other movies and then going to Princess Mononoke where it's like, holy shit, I'm watching Akira all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, Miyazaki wanted to show when things hurt, they really fucking hurt. It's not cartoon hurt.
And going off of that, it's interesting, too, that Ashitaka is played as a very decent person. Like, he is a stand-up dude all around. And yet he goes through more shit than, like, any other character in any of the Miyazaki films. Like, he gets stabbed, shot, hit with poison darts, almost crushed.
He cursed. Gets an anime arm.
Yeah, like, so many bad things happen to him throughout the movie, but...
It's tough being neutral.
Yeah, pretty much. But he manages to stay that path pretty good.
Yeah, but even with Ashitaka, you see that same duality where as much as he's like the good, pure white knight of the movie, it's like he cannot take 2 steps without making someone explode into a shower of gore. I think that's
I just can't stop making people die.
I think that's the movie's most obvious metaphor for how good intentions can have horrible consequences.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he goes in, I'm just here to observe. Also, get in the way of every single situation I see happening. He literally says he's there just to see with unclouded eyes. But what he actually does is step in the middle of every conflict that happens. Like, 2 people are fighting? I better get in the middle of that, even though I'm just supposed to observe. Which is interesting. I actually, one problem I really have with a lot of films nowadays is, maybe I shouldn't say nowadays, just always. Forever, and history, past, forward, backwards, whatever. The villain always tends to be more interesting in a lot of these films. And I think it comes down to the fact that the villain has, like, a motive. They're doing something. They're actively shaping the events of the film. And the hero is very passive and basically responsive to what the villain does. Like, if the villain doesn't blow up...
status quo.
Yeah, like, if Hans Gruber doesn't take over, the building and have all the hostages, John McClane doesn't have anything to do for the film. There's no movie. Whereas in this film, yes, Ashitaka gets cursed, and that kicks everything off, but it's more or less the film following him as he makes choices and kind of wanders through the situation. He's really driving a lot of the events here. Like, shit happens around him, that's true, that he doesn't control, but he inserts himself into it, and if he wanted to, he could just remove himself completely, and it's not like the world would end. So I really enjoy the agency that they gave his character, which would be something easy to fuck up because, like you said, he's the White Knight, so they could have just default wrote him as he walks in, does the right thing, and everyone's happy. Every single scene.
Yeah, it's something very rare you see in movies of this type, where it would have been very easy to just have Ashitaka, like, just walk into a room and have epic things happen around him for 2 hours. He's not a Bilbo Baggins.
I thought it was interesting last night. There's a line where everybody wants everything. It's said near the end. It sums up the movie pretty well. But I like how that even it extends to Ashitaka, where he just wants everybody to not die. But even that's pretty much an impossible thing in the world. You can't really accomplish that.
And I do like how, there's a lot of action movies too, where it's just kind of action porn, where you see Liam Neeson kill everyone who pisses him off. and you're supposed to cheer for that.
Goes to the DMV.
Liam Neeson goes batshit insane. Like, and you're supposed to cheer for that. You're supposed to be like, yeah, break his hands. And to a certain amount, that's kind of cool. And at a certain point, it's like, this is vengeance porn. Whereas in this film, Ashitaka kills some people, and it's never a thing where he's like, yeah, I'm going to have a good time. This guy had it coming. It's always him, like, he'll hold someone at sword's length and go, don't make me stab you to death, please. There's a resignation to him saying, yes, I will commit violence, but I would like to avoid it if at all possible.
You could say one of the big themes of the movie is a loss of innocence and that reluctance to move on to a more violent, harsh world. Which I think, like, from everything I've read, is something Miyazaki was feeling at the time. Because you look at the movies he made right before Princess Mononoke, it's like My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service.
Which are both, like, the most G-rated you can get, pretty much, except for, like, the Crashing Zeppelin and Kiki's.
And then, like, the fucking Yugoslavian war happens. And Miyazaki decides he's not going to bullshit kids anymore. He's going to show them exactly how horrible the world is.
Mononoke is a very angry film.
Which is also hilarious, because it's like, look, it's the peace of the forest, and the forest god, there's butterflies, it's so scenic. And then you'll have wolves just pouring gallons of blood out of their muscles as, bullets tear through them.
I think it's a very Japanese anger. Because, like, you look at the current state of Japan over the past few decades, like, in the later half of the 20th century, it's like that country is the most potent example of industrialization just fucking destroying a landscape.
No, you're thinking of Godzilla.
that too. But Japan is a really sad example of just the modernization of the world, just completely tearing down the old one. There's a theme you see a lot in anime and Eastern stuff, just the absolute rape of the environment and the complete abandonment of the old world with no respect for anything that's come before.
That is a good point, but one thing, I kind of took this in a slightly different direction. When you watch the film, it seems like it's trying to find some sort of balance between those ideas. Like, there's Ashitaka's clan at the beginning of the film, and they all seem like very decent people, but they also have very outdated ideas like, oh, well, you got hit by a curse, so, nope, fuck you, you're dead. Get out of our town, we never want to see you again. Even if you're cured...
Leave your hair.
Yeah, even if you find a cure for this, you have to pretend that you're dead and you can never see your family again. Like, those are the rules they spell out, and the guys are all sitting there like, yep, our clan's just getting weaker and weaker because, people keep dying, we don't have outsiders in, we won't evolve or adapt. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, you have Lady Eboshi basically destroying everything around her for progress's sake. And the film definitely condemns that. Like, you never see a sign that says, yeah, maybe this is a good thing. There are maybe good elements to it, but overall her progress is not great. So it seems like it's making a statement saying we need to have some sort of balance between these two polar opposites here, or we're just going to fuck everything up.
But you see, like, with Lady Eboshi, you see the duality of modernization. Like, you see, like, the complete destruction of the forest and the making of these horrible weapons and everything. But at the same time, she's also, pulling women out of prostitution and, training them as soldiers and giving them jobs. And she's taking care of lepers in a society where, those people would be considered just, less than human. So there's a point to be made about how, like you were saying, there's a balance there.
It would probably help her case if she wasn't making bullets out of all the iron ore. Well, nope, we just use them for weapons. Not like shovels or anything nice. Nope, guns. Okay.
The world doesn't need shovels, Cody.
We shoot the ground to dig holes.
But yeah, I think there's a point to be made about how modernization is... it's good in theory, but it very, very easily goes wrong, often.
Yeah. Which does make me a little pessimistic about the end of the film. Like, it ends on a happy enough note, like, look, all the trees are growing back, and there's new grass, and everything's cool in the forest. And, the townsfolk survive. They're not so bad after all. And you sit there for a minute and you think, yeah, they're going to do the exact same thing as soon as the credits roll. They're just going to go right back to the mountain and start strip mining it.
It's kind of like a more ambiguous version of the ending to Metropolis.
Yeah.
It's like you have this mediator between, nature and industry, but from the historical context of the movie, industry's gonna win.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad thing. Like, you feel like, oh, well, in the world of the film, there's a chance it can make it work and maybe, set things up where San and Ashitaka, manage to moderate their sides. But I don't believe this will work. I have real knowledge, and no, all doomed.
I think the ending gives you more of the sense that they're not going to continue down the same exact path, but it's still not necessarily going to end up happy in any stretch of the imagination.
Instead of bullets, we're going to make cannonballs.
It's very telling that Ashitaka wants Sun to stay with him, but her reaction is just no. No, we're going to stay over here, and you're going to stay over there, and we're going to try not to kill each other, but these two sides are not friends.
What if I build you a zoo? Come on.
You can live in a cage.
People like that, right? Cages? Yeah. Yeah.
All the boars in the world are dead, but we'll forget about that.
Oh man, they'll never be able to enjoy bacon. The true tragedy of the film.
No, the true tragedy of the film is that the world forever lost are nightmare shadow monkeys.
God, those still creep me out.
Which is even weirder because later on they show them as just like regular gorillas in the forest. Did they realize, did the animators get too scared and then just double back? Like, no, we're going to make them actual animals. We lost too many to nightmare disease last night.
Well, the gorillas do say, I thought this was, it's like just almost a throwaway line, but I always found it very interesting that the gorillas say that the more mankind was waging war against nature, the simpler and simpler they become. Like they want to destroy humanity while they can still talk and make war.
Yeah, I guess that makes a certain amount of sense because like the boars go through a similar thing. Like they talk about how the boars are getting dumber and just going to charge in like the lightning brigade. Thanks, Miyazaki. Now I'm sad.
Something I really like about the big third act battle with the boars and all that is I've never seen a movie be able to pull off in the battle against the boars. You want, you don't want Lady Eboshi and all of her men and all that to kill the boars, but at the same time, Irontown's being attacked, and you want Lady Eboshi and her men to go there and save everybody there. So in one battle they're the bad guys, in another battle they'd be the good guys, and it's all happening at the exact same time.
Yeah, it reminded me very much of the V for Vendetta graphic novel, where there are all these sides, and like for the most part, you don't want anyone to particularly win over the other. Like it's just a conflict of ideologies.
Meanwhile, the samurai are just there because the emperor's a douche.
Yeah, I was
the only clear-cut villain of this movie.
But even then, he's treated like, yeah, he thinks he'll get immortality, he won't, but who cares? And it's made very clear the emperor doesn't even really matter ultimately.
Yeah, that was a kind of a weird decision for me. Like, what was the greater significance of having the emperor's forces just kind of pop in there? I guess it adds, excitement to the film and more angles to it. But what are they supposed to be there for?
Maybe Miyazaki just wanted to insult some form of government.
Pretty much. Well, I think one of the big themes of the movie is the idea of small, bad decisions snowballing.
Yeah.
And, like, harming people who are hundreds or thousands of miles away. Like, you see, like, Eboshi attacks the boar, and then that ends up crashing into Ashitaka's village at the beginning of the movie, like hundreds of miles away, and starts, the whole sequence of events for the movie into play.
That's why I kill every butterfly I see before it can cause, hurricanes. I don't trust it. And I hope the people in Africa are doing the same for me.
Wow.
It's mutual respect.
That's right. I'll help you if you help me.
And I really like the idea of kind of the blank slates that Forest Spirit kind of sets up whenever he has his head cut off, where everything is destroyed. Forest is destroyed, Irontown's destroyed, and all just kind of starts over again.
Yep, and he kills the the lead boar, the lead wolf.
Yeah, where just there's no winner in that battle at all. Everything everyone was fighting for is just completely demolished.
I gotta say, as a kid, the spirit, this is a bit of a tangent, but the spirit creature, man, that thing freaked me out.
Even as an adult, it freaks you out.
It's very disturbing.
It's especially when it's walking on water and you realize, like, oh, this is like some sort of weird Christ comparison.
Then it gets a man in the face.
And the neck stretches like 30 feet up in the air.
He looks kind of like a pedophile.
I don't know if I trust the spirit god.
Everything he does is right, Japanese Cody.
And why is he? And I don't trust him. Why does he just become a big giant thing and walk around?
Why does he have a spirit van with spirit candy? Am I supposed to get in the spirit van?
The candy miner strikes again.
I do like how every night this forest spirit just becomes huge and pimp walks around the forest because he owns the place.
It's my job, bitch. Ooh.
And then gives a little roller coaster ride to spirits. Where he transforms back.
Alright, moving away from the themes and all for a moment, I have to say, even watching it today, as far as animation has gone, this is still one of the most beautiful cel-animated movies I have ever seen.
I was just thinking that last night when I was watching it. That might be the most beautiful animated movie ever made.
And this is
the fluidity of everything. It's just amazing.
This is real fucking animation. This isn't that limited animation bullshit we put up with in America.
And the great thing here is this is probably like right as they're starting to dabble in like, CGI and digital backdrops and all that kind of stuff. So this is probably like the last time they had a shot to make more or less a full film just in this style.
I learned doing research today that the weird anime churning effect on Ashitaka's arm was actually done with CGI.
Oh, really?
They just blended it insanely well.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I always figured that was just like a pain in the ass animation style.
This is the one time that actually worked.
Huh.
I've learned something.
Yeah. Yay! Now
Box office pulp.
Box office pulp. For once, educational. Don't expect it again, kids. Ever. Can we put the educational tag on iTunes now? Just for this one episode?
Yes.
Explicit. Educational. Bring the kids, but cover their ears.
Now you know something. Yeah, it's something you come to expect in Miyazaki movies. Just this perfect blend of beautiful, intricate, fluid animation with just amazing score and just like we were saying earlier, just a perfect mixture of visual, sound, and script. Again, like in a really good Ridley Scott movie.
I just love the fact that, yes, it's animated. I mean, I guess in our culture, we normally think animated is equivalent to, a PG rating or for kids or something like that. But this is definitely an adult story, and it's like an epic. But fuck it, no, it's animated too. Which is kind of a rarity, I mean, at least in our culture.
Yeah, well, Japan doesn't have the exact same hang-ups and prejudice against animated or even comic book mediums that we have. Because while we got, the ability to make movies, they had movies, but they didn't really have the ability to make the big, crazy shit that we ever got.
Just draw it, it'll be fine.
So they, developed animated and manga, more culturally relevant way before we ever allowed that to happen.
And they force us to watch, all the crazy shit in Akira, like organs spilling out of people. So, thanks, Japan. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's movies like this that make you really pissed off that there's no serious adult animation in America.
There's pretty much no animation left in America. Now it's just, CGI creations, which, not to badmouth the stuff that, like Pixar's doing, DreamWorks is even getting better. There's just something missing a lot of the times, I feel, compared to a 2D traditional animation.
Like, even with CGI, there's not really anything that's specifically for adults. Like, the only adult animation you really see is, Sunday night Fox cartoon.
I was about to say Rick and Morty.
And even that, it's like, can I just watch a cartoon where nobody farts? Just
no, that's part of the contract.
Just no farts and no celebrity jokes. That's all I ask for. Just give me one.
You want both? You want one? Okay, we can maybe manage one. No, we thought about it. No, you get neither.
The idea of a animated film not directly aimed at kids is something studios cannot fucking get their heads around. Even with that animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie a couple of years ago, which was still aimed at kids technically, Warner Brothers could not figure out an idea. Wait, it's actually also for adults?
I'm sorry, I'm just
in a hash show.
I'm just trying to imagine like a bunch of the CGI films that have come out recently if they were aimed for adults. Like, how different would Monster House be?
To be fair, Monster House was pretty adult-oriented.
That's true.
Paranorman.
Yeah, Coraline, Paranorman.
Yeah,
it's like we don't really get adult stuff. We get, like, every now and then a movie gets sneaked past that is equally enjoyable. Tintin. Yeah, that's equally enjoyable for kids and adults.
And to, this is a total backtrack, but whatever. Maybe through the miracle of editing it'll sound fluid. It won't. But another facet of Ashitaka's character I really enjoy is that he is not ordained by fate to do any of the stuff he's doing.
Yeah.
It's something, I don't know why, but recently I've just noticed it in so many movies where, there's a prophecy or there's a legend or blah, 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 where this person will do what he has to do because he has no choice. Destiny forces his hand and he's going to do all the heroic stuff because he is the hero of legend.
Yeah, Ashitaka's not a chosen one.
Which is weird because it seems like a film that lends itself to that kind of storytelling, but no, it skews that and works so much better because of it.
Like, if anything, Ashitaka's destiny is to go into the woods and die.
Yeah.
Because hate will eat him alive.
I'm not sure why that's become a weird trope that's become very prevalent this past decade in American films. It's like you could blame the Star Wars prequels, but, like, one of the few interesting things about those movies is they actually subvert the chosen one trope. Like, it ends up being a really bad idea.
Oh, Anakin, you done messed up. Yeah, you'd think like they'd want to go the other way. Just like, wouldn't people be more interested in a story that basically said, oh, hey, your choices make you the hero, rather than nabs through some sort of destiny predestined stuff, you were chosen. Or is that what people want? Do people want to just be told, like, no, you don't have to do jack shit, you're just special because, you're the chosen one?
I think it's a thing writers think people like more than something people actually like.
Yeah, I enjoy watching competent people just go about their business. Not like, oh, Joe Schmo? Yeah, well, he's special, so he'll get the job done.
Professionals, the movie. There's people laying down sheetrock.
Man, look at that. It's so snug, there's no wiggle room. That's perfect. That guy knows his shit.
Directed by Henry Selick.
Yeah, I'd watch that. No question in my mind, I'd watch that.
This is still like a 2-hour stop-motion animated movie about people doing their jobs.
Well, I mean, I'll watch anything stop-motion in the first place, but I mean, professional stop-motion about professionals? Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Stop-motion about people making stop-motion.
Oh, let's
My
finish.
God.
It's so beautiful.
It's a 10-part documentary.
Oh.
Awkward silence.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of the next way to take this.
An edit point. Silence was an edit point.
Yep, that's very true. No, this is all going in. Every last awkward bit of us sitting here scratching our chins. Like, now what? I think I saw this movie once.
I am curious. Now, Mike, I know I believe this was your first Miyazaki movie?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe.
I was trying to remember if I saw Lupin when I was a kid, but no, I don't think I did. I was thinking of another Lupin movie.
Yeah, I mean, how did the other Miyazaki movies play after beginning with this one? Because I did not have the same experience. I started with Spirited Away and Howls before moving on to this.
I would say they played fine. It was weird kind of starting with arguably the masterpiece movie and then working away from there.
Yeah, I feel like Princess Mononoke you have to build towards.
Yeah, I think the next one I watched might have been Spirited Away. I don't remember. And I didn't enjoy that quite as much as any of the other Miyazaki movies I've watched. But then I went back and I Castle in the Sky I enjoyed quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, Castle in the Sky.
And not just because of Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene in Castle in the Sky where two characters have a shirt exploding competition.
God, that is a Japanese movie.
Make your shirt explode.
Oh. Nausicaa I fucking loved almost as much as I love. Okay.
It's funny, Nausicaa is kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the Miyazaki movies, but it's arguably his best next to Princess Mononoke. It's kind of his.
It's kind of like a prototype movie. Yeah.
It's the first Miyazaki movie technically.
People just don't like giant bugs. No sympathy. Giant boars, though. Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Now we got a story.
Nausicaa is essentially the Final Fantasy movie you always wanted to see whenever you were a kid.
With smaller swords.
Like chocobos are in there.
Yeah, I kind of got started on Miyazaki a little bit later. Like, I saw this one as a kid, but obviously I didn't really get it as a child. And, you know, I saw Spirited Away when I was in college, and now that they're coming out on Blu-ray, I'm starting to catch up on all this stuff. But it's weird because Miyazaki's finally officially retired. So essentially during my lifetime, I managed to catch, you know, several of his films as they were coming out. So I got to experience him as a director as he was, you know, in the field and active. And now he's retired, so I can actually look back his entire filmography and kind of review it right away, like as his legacy is building. So
he has made like 100 movies.
He hasn't made all that many, really. I mean, he's produced quite a few.
Yeah, he's
been involved in a lot of movies, I should say.
Yeah, I think as director, and Internet Movie Database back me up.
So like 8?
Director, interesting. Oh, he's got 25 direction credits, but I think a lot of them are from shorts. Like, just looking at the list here, Sherlock Hound TV series.
That sounds amazing.
The Whale Hunt, short. Imaginary Flying Machine, short. Lion the Kitten Bus, short. Koro's Big Day Out, short.
Imaginary Flying Machine is the name of your autobiography.
So, okay, let's count here. Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro. That was his first movie.
I've always been fascinated that Miyazaki's first movie was Lupin III.
Yeah.
Like, he made a movie based on the Japanese Scooby-Doo.
Kind of a weird start, but alright, why not? Then he did Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. So that's 2. Castle in the Sky, My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, Porco Rosso, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo, and The Wind Rises. So he's directed 11 films.
I was reading about Ponyo.
Yeah, that one kind of gets forgotten about.
People talk a lot of shit about Ponyo. It's still a really charming movie if you accept that it's for kids.
No, it's for me.
Wow. God, he's infected with hate.
It's true.
Here's a question. Have either of you seen My Neighbor Totoro?
Yes.
I have not.
For whatever reason, that's the only one I just could not get into. Maybe it's just because I'm a heartless adult.
No, I felt the same way. I felt like, you know, I must not have a soul while I was watching this. Because I'd grown up with all my friends saying, like, no, it's the best, Cat Bus! And I watched it and I'm like, it's alright. I mean, it's perfectly acceptable. There's nothing I can complain about. It's just not for me.
I feel like it's one of those movies you had to see whenever you were still a kid.
Yeah. Well, that one's definitely more for kids, I think, than half the other films he's made.
Like, so the majority of the movie is just children playing with no particular plot. It's like you have to be at the age where that can really capture your imagination for that to find a place in your heart.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But for the most part here, Castle in the Sky, that's amazing. I mean, I'd watch that anytime someone had it around. I like the messages in Kiki's Delivery Service. I don't necessarily think it's a movie I would watch all the time, but it's like uplifting and, you know, empowering, so that's cool. No problem with the themes there. Obviously, Princess Mononoke I love. Spirited Away is great, although, like I said, it feels like a movie where you need to have 2 days set aside to watch it.
It feels like numerous episodes of a Spirited Away TV show stitched together.
Yeah, it's a whole season. I haven't actually seen Ponyo, and I've got The Wind Rises sitting in my collection, but I am I feel like I should save that for last. Like, I should watch his other films before I watch The Wind Rises, because it's kind of a commentary on his, career.
I didn't realize that was already out.
Yeah, it just came out Tuesday. Disney does, like, waves for Ghibli films. Like, they'll release 3 at a time or 2 at a time. This time, it was Spirited Away. I'm sorry, not Spirited Away. I'm a liar. It was Princess Mononoke, The Wind Rises, and Kiki's Delivery Service.
Just a full spectrum of Miyazaki.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I think they're saving Spirited Away for, like, the very last one, because they've got almost everything else out. In February, I think they're releasing Porco Rosso and 2 other Ghibli films that aren't Miyazaki directed.
How do you feel about Howl's Moving Castle?
I really enjoyed that one.
I really loved that one, yeah.
Which is weird, because you think a movie about a woman who's transformed to an old lady would get old, but no, the entire thing is just enjoyable.
I like how that's the Miyazaki movie where there's not really a whole lot of subtext or, a whole lot of characterization going on. It's just fucking crazy shit.
Kind of. And I mean, even the subtext there is kind of like, isn't war bad, and doesn't it do bad things to people?
When you have Christian Bale as a melting wizard, it's amazing.
It's acting the shit out of that. Yeah. It is.
His hair.
Just underplaying everything.
Oh, Calcifer, so charming. Billy Crystal.
That other role where Billy Crystal was good. It's got like that and The Princess Bride, and that's it. And Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, Monsters University, I mean... yeah.
Cody loves Monsters University.
Hey, man.
Look, I'm a fan of the disembodied voice of Billy Crystal. The man.
Yeah, if we could do more, like go back into his movies and take him out, but leave his voice.
Oh god, could you imagine when Harry met Sally?
What if every one of Billy Crystal's movies was transformed into The Sixth Sense? Like, he's dead the entire time and you just hear his ghostly voice making jokes.
Oh, I know what a Pez dispenser feels like.
Man, City Slickers got weird.
Just as a ghost haunting Daniel Stern.
Actually, I'd watch that. That'd be fantastic. I would actually want to insert his voice into other movies with him, like C.H.U.D. All of a sudden, you just got Billy Crystal's voice, like as Daniel Stern is going through like the sewers of New York trying to find the C.H.U.D s.
He's Bud the C.H.U.D.
Bud the C.H.U.D. Bud the C.H.U.D. That movie actually had its own theme song, which I couldn't believe.
Really?
Yes, I swear to God. Okay, so it's C.H.U.D 2, subtitle, Bud the C.H.U.D. And the theme song is just people chanting more or less, Bud the C.H.U.D, Bud the C.H.U.D. And it's...
That sounds like such a good time.
They made about 20 seconds of theme, and they just kind of loop it. It's... It makes C.H.U.D look like a masterpiece. Like, C.H.U.D is enjoyable. C.H.U.D 2 is just like a train wreck you can't stop watching. It almost feels like it has nothing to do with the original C.H.U.D, by the way. Like, the C.H.U.D monsters are gone, and it's more or less a zombie comedy. Now you learned something about C.H.U.D.
I feel like you're getting what you pay for with a movie called C.H.U.D 2, Bud the C.H.U.D.
You are very much correct. Like, the first 30 minutes of the film are 2 kids stealing a body from the morgue, and then, like, losing track of it, and it turning out that the body they stole is actually Bud the C.H.U.D.
Like, is he a cool zombie? Does he have sunglasses and listen to rock and roll?
No, he's just pretty much a zombie. Like, there's nothing... He's kind of like... I can't think of a good zombie to compare him to. He's got personality, but nothing that's easy to describe. He's just kind of wacky, you know?
Like, there's not a plot where they try to get Bud laid.
No, mostly it's, we should get Bud's body back to the morgue before we get in trouble. Oh, too late. Also, he ate my neighbors.
So, now that we're discussing the C.H.U.D series,
yeah,
and this Princess Mononoke episode.
No, I'm just okay. We're playing the long game here now. Now, just imagine if Miyazaki had made a C.H.U.D film.
No,
like C.H.U.D, like the zombie is a symbol for consumerism.
Oh, the nightmare gorillas. Those are your C.H.U.Ds.
Oh my god.
Except for the, living on a rock and throwing stones. They're living in our sewers. I'm pitching you here. You gotta buy into it. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. We're remaking C.H.U.D as an animated masterpiece. Hayau's coming out of retirement for this one, boys.
Can you just see fucking Hayao Miyazaki and like his forest palace, like making toys for small children? And he flips on the Sci-Fi Channel and watches C.H.U.D. And it changes his life.
I would love to see that as a project. You get, like, the most acclaimed directors in the world, and you all have them direct more or less the same film, just to see how different each version comes out. Like, you pitch them the idea and let them go crazy with it.
It's like Dominion, a prequel to The Exorcist.
Yes. Just imagine you got the Miyazaki version of C.H.U.D. You've got the Coen Brothers version of C.H.U.D. You've got the Stephen Sommers version of C.H.U.D. just to have, like, an actual action film.
The Steven Soderbergh version of C.H.U.D. It's just people talking about zombies.
I would love that. That'd be a great series. It'd be like Coffee and Cigarettes. You know, there's that binding theme, underground mutant dwellers who are cannibals. Let's see what you got. Go ahead. Surprise me.
James Franco directs a segment that's just about all the implied gay sex in C.H.U.D. too, but the C.H.U.D.
Steven Spielberg's is just really touching, and it's about a family trying to deal with, you know, being underground mutant dwellers that all kind of look like Sloth from the Goonies. Well, I think we all learned something here tonight, folks.
Question, do we want to go to IMDb?
You know, why the hell not? I'm on IMDb right now, so that's why I said yes. So we're going to present you an abridged version of It Came from Internet Movie Database. Come from the land of the ice and snow. Section, if you can't tell by now, I think we've all just given up.
We're sick of talking about this movie we all love passionately.
It's Friday, 11:30. I don't care anymore. Someone come to my house and shoot me. So, the first one, English dub haters, please get over yourselves. I'm expecting something hate-filled. Let's see what the message is. However, it seems like every time I look at a board for one of Miyazaki's films, there are like 5 or 6 threads on how bad the English dubs are, and that if you don't listen to the original Japanese mix, you're not getting the, air quotes, full experience. Well, I'm sorry, but when I watch a Miyazaki film, I like to actually watch the stunning visuals on the screen. That was a Z-snap I added. And not the bottom subtitles the whole time. I feel that if you spend the whole time reading the subtitles, you can't get the full experience. So please, all of you people, ooh, thrown to you people, who think you are so high and mighty that you can't possibly listen to an English dub because it ruins the, air quotes, true intentions of the film, stop acting like such pretentious snobs and just enjoy Miyazaki's fantastic storytelling and wild visuals.
I posted that.
All right. You're a jockey full of bourbon. Good to know. Personally,
that would be your IMDb screen name.
If I posted this, I probably would have broke out the pretentious snob part a little early, just to let people know what they're in for. But okay, all right.
If I wrote that, I would have used dickbag a lot more.
Right, exactly. You got to get that point across. That was kind of snooty, but not enough to really prove the point. Next subject: 9-year-old kids seeing this movie.
Written by you.
Oddly, yeah. I'm Lucas Bavinik. Bavinik? Yeah, we'll go with that. No one else can see it. Who cares?
Let's spend the next 20 minutes trying to pronounce his name.
Man, why couldn't it have been the next guy? Preach, Caleb. I know how to pronounce that.
You can be whoever you want to be, Cody. That's
let's see.
What Miyazaki would want.
Lucas Bavinik says, "One, I was in a friend house and I saw some kids seeing this movie. Everything was alright till the bloody scenes. The kids didn't said anything, but I felt awkward."
Was this written by the 9-year-old?
I think those kids ended up traumatized. I'm afraid of that. Upside down, question mark. Do you think they ended up traumatized? Right side up, question mark. Well, do you think they ended up traumatized?
Is that like a Mexican soap opera? I think they ended up traumatized.
I don't believe I was traumatized. No, I will answer that question. Unfortunately, he never came back to the thread, so I can't. Oh wait, he did. Someone asked, "You think 9-year-olds can't handle a little animated blood? This movie wasn't all that gory. It's not that bad." He responded, "An arm was cut. That's pretty hardcore."
An arm was cut.
He's right. An arm was cut.
Can that be on the poster for the Blu-ray? An arm was cut. Some guy on IMDb.
Upside down question mark.
Next up, people who think the Japanese anime characters look white, ellipses. Oh, and then it's a long post basically bitching about how there's a lot of variety to Asian people, and no, they're not white. So don't think it.
Wow.
Mystery solved.
So no, these characters are not white, nor are they supposed to be, nor do they look it. Get out of your narrow-minded hole when looking at other races and at least try to appreciate the variety we Asians apparently think we have.
That is something that fascinates me with anime fans, the people who are totally convinced that those characters are white.
Considering it's a film made in Japan, I would assume, they're all Japanese, but whatever. Okay. AX 2013 is pissed, that's all I know. I think this is Hayao Miyazaki's best film. Okay, whatever. Not going to argue there. Nothing really for content.
Then why did you bring it up?
It was on the top 5, man. Gotta read it out. Avatar. Let's see what that's about.
Avatar.
The ones who have already seen Avatar, didn't it remind you of Princess Mononoke? The whole movie was the same, but Avatar in the future and in another planet. What? I got lost in that sentence. Let me try again. The whole movie was the same, but Avatar in the future and in another planet.
Inside the planet at all.
I like the idea of saying it's exactly the same, but it's in the future and on another planet. Why do I feel like that was brought up in the pitch meeting for Avatar?
Princess
Mononoke is a better Avatar. Avatar is a remake of Fern Gully. We all know this.
Except in the future and on another planet. And no Tim Curry.
I like one response. Princess Mononoke is less black and white, which I'd like to assume they meant about, moral issues rather than, filming style, but whatever. Oh, and our last subject, can a 5-year-old watch?
That guy from the other thread is like, no!
No, watch.
Bad movie, hurt brain. Evil, bad, hurt movie.
Evil, bad, hurt movie. Top response.
Can that be, whenever we watch a movie we don't like and we have to review it, can that be our rating? Evil, bad, hurt movie.
Evil, bad, hurt movie. Satan's Little Helper. Evil, bad, hurt movie out of 5.
That's Bop Cannon now.
That's how I like to rank stuff. Instead of thumbs, I'm looking at the second page just to see if we got any better material. Just got the Blu-ray? No, fuck that. I think this is Hayao Miyazaki's best film. Yeah, okay, we get it. Were the lepers cured at the end? Spoiler. I hadn't really thought about that. At the end of the movie, the forest spirit appears to restore everything. The forest grows back, and Ashitaka and San are both cured of their infections. Do the lepers from Irontown get cured? No. I'm pretty sure they all died. They probably drowned.
And all those prostitutes still had STDs.
Yep.
Forest spirit can't fix everything.
Only magic curses. And not gonorrhea. Is hate ever good or justifiable? Wow, things got heavy there.
Whoa. The answer is yes, but that's not the discussion for
I don't even want to get into that, man. I'm not a philosophy major.
Oh, we're getting heavy here, IMDb message board.
Yep, and the rest are, what are your top favorite films? This is the best animation film I know. What did you rate Princess Mononoke? There's a lot of rating. People are obsessed with ratings.
Well, it is the internet. Ratings and charts.
Okay, page 3. We're starting to get into some scary shit here. What all the hype around?
What the hype around?
HD Gunners.
Wait, can that be my new segment on this show?
What all the hype around? Go on, educate us today, James. HD Gunner says, it is K-movie, nothing special, character were not memorable. The storyline is K, even the battle scenes were clumsy and not interesting. I am, like an I, and then a space, and then M. Not rooting for any character, not caring for them is nothing special. Disappointed to see the movie in top 250.
Box Office Pulp rates this K.
I feel like this guy was about to break into some, like, slam poetry. It is K, nothing special, character, not memorable. Storyline K, even battle scenes clumsy.
Dig.
Bongos. Ba, 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 ba. What I've learned after the first view. Dark Skinny Boy, what you got? Below will contain spoilers. It's worth it in 720 Blu-ray. Humans versus the forest. The animals talk to each other. 2 hours, 8 minutes, 34 seconds long. No scene during or after credits. Good directing, storyline, and acting. It's colored animation. A White Walker / Deer God is what everyone is fighting for. The movie lived to its hype. Being 85 on IMDb's top 250 is not a mistake. Thank you, Dark Skinny Boy, for the report.
Was that, like, written by freaking MovieBot 5000? Positive feel-good movie.
I like how no scene during or after credits takes precedence over good acting, directing, and storyline.
Color animation. Just in case you got confused, the Astro Boy series from the 1990s.
Significantly overrated. Miyazaki is a badass. One thing I don't quite get, ellipses. Okay, what do you got? GKN_88 ponders. Ashitaka said he would help reconstruct the ironworks and he wanted San's help. Both he and San seemed to think that the forest was very valuable. So how can you continue with ironworks and not cutting down trees? Iboshi said they were going to build it better this time. How?
This time they were going to kill everybody.
It's the only solution. Everyone must die. Good, evil, there's only dead.
She will have revenge for her hand.
Would you say Lavenge?
No.
Okay. Well, that joke's dead.
This entire segment.
Awkward.
No, there are some okay parts here. We can cut out most of the bullshit.
No, you're not. You're editing this. I know you're not.
You know me. I'd like everyone to see how it goes down.
You're still doing this.
The episode hasn't ended. It doesn't end until I say it ends. Which was 20 minutes ago, before we did it came from IMDb. So if you're still here, and you haven't drilled your brains out, congratulations, and I'm sorry. This has been Box Office Pulp, the podcast with occasional rambling, sometimes movie quotes, and more often than not, no coherence. Thank you for joining us. That's a wrap.
And like that, he's gone.
I had way more to say than I thought I would.
Don't tell MB. He'll feel bad.
You guys said some stuff.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah. High five, team.
No.
Do not see. Do not five.
Do not five.
Just imagine if Dracula was actually a story about some bros.
Fucking broski Dracula would be incredible.
Why haven't they done that remake? Like, they just reset in modern day where Dracula's just a bro. Like, he's trying to move into a new apartment, no one trusts him because he's, too bro-y.
GBL. Jim Blood Laundry.